Good evening, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to host this panel discussion on the issue of amongst us today. Uh, WHO has assigned World Mental Health Day the 10th of October every year. With this overall objective of raising, so WHO has assigned 10th October as the World Mental Health Day every year with the overall objective of raising awareness of mental health issues around the world and mobilizing efforts in support of mental health. This day provides an opportunity for all stakeholders working on mental health issues to talk about their work and what more needs to be done to make mental health care a reality for people worldwide. And that's exactly what we have come here to talk about. We have an esteemed panel with us. I would like to welcome them one by one. We have with us Dr. Ashish Singh Ojla. He has done his MD in pediatrics from Indore, but further training, he went to UK and he has worked in London for over 11 years, did his MRCP-CH and CCT in pediatric neurology. He has special interest in epilepsy and developmental disorder and is the director for Kids for Care, Pediatric Neurology Center in Raipur. Welcome, Dr. Ojla. Really happy to have you with us.
Thank you, sir.
Uh, we have Ms. Smita Mishra. She's a National Award winner, counselor, and psychotherapist, internationally certified REBT expert, a neuro-linguistic programmer, a Reiki master, EQ trainer, and a life coach with 20 years of hands-on experience. Smita, thank you for being with us today for this panel discussion.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting.
We have with us Mrs. Surbhi Agarwal, who is the active trustee of MS Arna Foundation and the promoter of Ashain of inclusion of children with special needs in the society in the state of Chhattisgarh. She is also a proud member of Down Syndrome Federation of India, Tamil Nadu, and is acting as state representative for the organization. Thank you, Surbhi for joining us today. And finally, we have Mrs. Kalpana Chaudhary, whom we all know as the founder principal of NH World School, but not just that, she was instrumental in setting up 2 other successful CBSE schools across the country. And currently, she is the director emeritus and instructional mentor of NH World School. She has undergone the training at London School of Education Strategic Management and Leadership Program for the heads of schools. She has also been nominated by the CBSE for Global Educational Leadership Program and has visited Brazil and Australia under the aegis of GELP. Also participated as a delegate, which was sent to China by MHRD in October 2013. Great. So I think let's begin with the conversation, and I'm sure that for the next 1 hour we will have extremely important issues discussed, and hopefully we will take away a lot of thoughts and maybe action points for in order to have a healthy life in terms of physical as well as mental. I'd like to begin with Smita Mishra ma'am today because I think the basic question that comes to our minds, to us, which is what is mental health? What are we really talking about? And what are the issues related to that if we talk about schools in general? Smita.
Good evening, everyone. And it's lovely to see actually everyone here, and we are talking about mental health. As we have this day, called World Mental Health Day, for me, it's not a day. For me, it's the year around and every time when you talk about the basic issue of mental health and becoming aware of that. When we talk about mental health, it is the level of psychological well-being of an individual. It is also your emotional and your mental well-being. And when you are functioning well within your own capabilities, and you are emotionally very balanced, that's called a good mental health. The confusion happens when we take mental health and mental illness and club it together. Mental illness is something when I am not functioning as per my own capability, then it goes mental illness. Otherwise, it is the mental health. And when we talk about mental health, then it is very simple well-being of mine, and I am happy at my own level and performing to best of my capability. That is the mental health. And why are we talking about this today? Why everyone is talking about this today? Because with this current situation that we all are going through, this is something which has to be now understood in depth by all of us. And we have to understand that it's not the mental health. You're talking about your basic well being. Everything starts with the mind. And when the mind is healthy, so are you.
Okay. Thank you. What are the issues really that we're going to talk about today? And like, what are the things which are probably that you have seen in your experience that kind of needs to be discussed when it comes to students and schools in general?
Okay. When we talk about the mental or the problems that we face related to our well-being, I would say well-being is and pan India. If I talk about it, is the with the children we face a lot of anger, irritability, acceptance, hopelessness, and as per the recent research which is there, these all have increased by, I think, 54%. The anger has increased, 42% the hopelessness has increased, and what is worst is 15% of the joy has gone down with children only. This, I'm talking about this data for children only. So when we talk about these things, these are the basic things with the children are joy. 15% has gone down. That's why, that's what we see in the schools. Also associated with this is everyone around, including the educators and parents, being the important influence in their life. So when we talk about the issues which are being faced is growing up issues for adolescents, basic necessities being met on the emotional level of the child, and the parents unable to fill up that gap. That's the major issues that we see around different schools in
Great.
different ways.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for giving us that brief about what are the important things that we need to be addressing today. And I would like to welcome Kalpana right now, who can tell us, with her such a vast experience that she has in school education, that how do we really prioritize this mental health in the curriculum, and how do we really train our teachers to bring this to the forefront of the education system in this country? I think that is something that we need to really think about today. Kalpana,
Yeah.
thank you.
So it is not today. I think from the very beginning, mental health of the children is always, should always be a priority for all schools, because children are very vulnerable. Especially the younger children are really, really vulnerable. They have so many issues today. Actually, if you get to see, children don't have, any emotional, what should I say, earlier on when we used to have these large families, there were these grandmothers and uncles and aunts and elderly people who used to take care of children's emotional well-being in very many ways. Children could go to them, they could vent out their feelings. But in today's time, when we live in nuclear families, for very many years, the mental well-being of younger children is becoming an issue, because what happens is that uh, the system is such and has been such that, in traditional schools, we are not ready to listen to children. Children don't know whom to go to. to vent out their simple feelings, their joys or sorrows or whatever their problems they have, whatever little problems. They don't have major problems at a very young age. But then these feelings, when they are right there in their hearts, they cannot vent them out. So, they kind of fester. And slowly, we've come to know that there is a data which shows that, younger children, especially children even in primary classes, suffer from depression, which which we had never heard of. It was unheard of completely that school children used to be in depression, but today it's a fact which we cannot close our eyes to. And teachers and the entire school fraternity needs to be sensitized again and again and again. That's the only thing I think we can do. We can train, we can sensitize all the time. So the effort is an ongoing effort. We cannot say कि एक साल में एक training हो गया तो हो गया, काम नहीं. We need to speak to them time and again. It's a constant effort, and which is the need of the art, because children need that emotion. They need to vent out their feelings somewhere or the other. This is what I feel.
Right. Yeah, I think what I picked up from what you said was about coming out of our closet of being a traditional school to a school which is proactively looking into the
Yes,
mental health issues of our students. And I think teachers will have to be at the forefront of
yes,
how they manage this, so that the children do not, or bring back the joy in what we wanted to see in them, or what it was in the past.
yes.
Great. I will come back to you, Kalpana, but I think I would like to bring in Dr. Ashish right now to give us, like, what is a better mind? What is a better brain? I'm like, how do we look at children as teachers, as parents, when we talk about mental health? But more importantly, how does it? What is the route to making it happen, making it better for ourselves?
The question is about how we can improve our brain. Uh, Actually, we can do a lot. Basically, when we are young, our brain is plastic. So, you can mold the plastic in any way you like. The brain cells are formed, but the brain keeps on remodeling. The new synapses are developing, and if you are trying to teach the kids good values, I think that is the time where you can modify the growing brain. So, for example, you need to develop the positive thinking in kids. And I think the most important thing in developing these skills, like teaching them empathy, by teaching them about their environment where they live in, is by parents actually showing them by example. So if parents have good habits, they have positive values, then these are the things which the child takes. The other thing is if you can really, I always emphasize is that the things which you can do to improve the brain is like very early you start reading with the kids. So you sit with the kids, you read to them, and it's not just simple reading ki aapne koi story pad di. It's the children needs to be involved. So what you really need to do is, in between your story, you have to ask the kids, okay, what is going to happen, so that they get involved, and then they develop the reading habits. You can start with easy puzzles, Legos, crosswords. Eventually these things are going to help. Very important thing is that we need to teach kids that one of the most important thing you need to do is to go out and play. So 1 hour of play every day is very, very important. Nowadays it's corona time, so you can teach them things like meditation to older kids. A younger kid can have yoga exercises. important is that they eat well, and you have to teach them about the daily activity, and you need to show them the positive values. For example, if they are doing something bad, don't scold them, don't scold them in front of other people, and always praise the positive thing, positive habits. The last thing I want to say is which I, as a neurologist, we face a lot is a problem with the sleep. Kids don't sleep well, so late at night they are on the games or phones. This actually affects their mental health in a big way. It's very important that they have a sleep hygiene, so they have a time where they need to go to sleep, and half an hour before they go to sleep, they need to say brush their teeth, have the good environment, the lighting should be dim, no games, half an hour before going to sleep, and at least 8 to 10 hours of sleep every day is very important.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ajla. But I think I would like to continue with you for another point.
Sure.
You mentioned the importance of sleep and eating well, and parent and children engaging with each other. And we have got so many students amongst us, amongst the audience over here. But then still then there is a element of stress, which is
Yes.
probably increasing every day. Uh, so how do you address that? There are parents as well as the children over here, but I think this is an issue which probably every day we need to address. How do we
Yeah,
reduce this?
actually, stress is a big issue in our life, and the thing is how we are moving. The stress is increasing. All right, and quite a lot of this stress is actually they are not at all important. So what we have done is slowly, as Madam was saying, that slowly we are taking this stress. Every small things we are stressed about, and it's taking a very heavy toll on our quality of life. So it's so your question is how to help with this stress. So actually what I would say is it's very, very important that if we are stressed, first we need to see what we are stressed about. Try to break down the problem. Actually, when you try to break down the problem, you would see that, okay, it's not that big a deal. All right. One of the most important thing is that if you look around, there are people to help you. So for your teachers, for example, your teachers, your parents, your peers, your friends, they are there to help you. So it's very, very important that you open up to them. You tell them, okay, that you are stressed because of this, and you ask for help. It's very, very important to ask for help. You don't become small if you ask for help. Then there are things like yoga, like meditation. So if you are stressed, take an hour out. Okay, just relax, chill. If you have a hobby, say do that. Some kids, they love music. Some they play music. Some of them they paint. Or actually, what you can do is you can just shut everything, go out for a walk in a garden.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference. Okay, and it's very, very important that many times, actually, if you look at the movies and other things, it tells you that, okay, if you're stressed, alcohol helps or substance abuse helps. It's very important that as a youngster, you need to understand that actually these are extremely bad things. They don't increase the stress, they would increase the stress in a long term. So say no to it. Okay. And second thing is, sometimes the stress gets too much. So your teachers are there, you have counselors at your school, so talk to them. They are there to help you. They can tell you the relaxation techniques. So there are techniques where you can relax, you can uh, you can be stress free. And if say nothing works, then doctors are there. We can give you, for short term, when you're really stressed, we can give you some medication to reduce the stress. Important thing again is proper sleep. It's very, very important.
Right. Great. Thank you. I think the most important point that you touched upon is the fact that it can be taken care of. And
Definitely.
that is the faith with which I think all students and parents should come forward and seek help. And something that can be taken care of can be removed completely from our lives. And you have mentioned so many things that we can do. But I think as teachers, we love to talk. But I think a dialogue which we can increase, which we can engage in to remove the stress is something I think is most basic. And as teachers, we invite every parent and student to come and talk to us, talk to anyone you feel comfortable with. I would like to bring the fourth panelist in the discussion, Surbi Agarwal. How do you look at this particular issue from the perspective of children with special needs? I think they definitely need to be included. But so, what are the struggles that you see in that? And how do we really make it an inclusive, not just a school, but a society? But a society, I think we need to be able to bring everybody together to reduce not only stress, but also to have a beautiful life for all of us and development for all of us. Surviji.
Um, yes, first, we have to make that environment for that kids, for the children with the Down syndrome and any of the special needs के लिए, we want to have develop the environment कि जिसमें सारे की society, teachers and everybody should come and fold their hands and come together for them to make them a better world and better जिसमें the kids with the kids with the special needs के जो बच्चे होते हैं they don't need sympathy. They
Ji.
need inclusion. They need to include in everywhere. They sympathy, in my point of view, कि जो special needs के जो बच्चे होते हैं, they don't need any of the sympathy. They need the inclusion. आप उनको discriminate मत करो. हर जगह आप उन्हें include करो. Society हुआ, आपके school हुआ, NH Goel is doing the wonderful job. एडुकेशंस में एडुकेशन हुआ, आपके पार्क्स हुए, मतलब इन सब चीजों में आप इन्हें इंक्लूड करोगे स्पेशल नीड्स के किड्स को, तो दैट इज द बेटर, वी मेक द बेटर एनवायरनमेंट फॉर देम.
ग्रेट, थैंक यू सुरभि जी. जी बिल्कुल, आपने कहा कि उनको इंक्लूड करने के लिए और हर स्कूल में इनको इंक्लूड हर एक्टिविटी में,
हर एक्टिविटी में
इंक्लूड कर पाना और समझ पाना कि किस तरह से हम उनको इंक्लूड कर सकते हैं और उसी तरह से कर सकते हैं जैसे कोई और भी इंक्लूड होता है. आई मीन इसमें कोई
नहीं, सब बिना सिंपैथी के, मतलब when the tag comes in a child कि this is a special need, then everybody the first person which they look, अरे he is in a special need, so we don't want with a sympathy nature, we want with a मतलब education is our right, not a privilege.
Absolutely.
Inclusion is our right, not a privilege which is given by the scene, the people saw the kids with the special needs, the tag, this tag has to be removed first, and this has to be the मैंने जैसे कल्पना मैम ने बोला, this is not a one day discussion, it has to be aware and it has to be sanitized with every time and time to time, it has to be done in every school and everywhere, it has to be done by the time again and again.
Absolutely. I think now that we have heard all the four panelists, I would invite every participant in this particular meeting and the people who are on the Facebook or on YouTube to send us queries, questions, and if possible, we will include them in today's conversation. And also later on, if we have to, if we get so many questions to answer. But I think going back to Smita, ma'am, how do we, like Surbhi touched upon this point about they don't need sympathy, they need inclusion. But then if somebody is stigmatizing somebody who has a mental illness, who is probably going through this issue of maybe depression, how do we tackle with that? I mean, what are the specific things that any faculty or any parent should do so that we can probably bring back that student into the into the fold. I'm like with everyone, include everyone. How do we do that? How do we destigmatize this thing of mental illness?
Uh, that's
Smita?
a very valid point that you have asked, and very nicely Surbi has said that there is a sympathy which is being given to these children and which they don't need. They need to be one of them. This thought process, this entire thing starts with the thought process. The thought process has to be changed. How does it change? You can't change anybody's thought process, the belief system in a day. But the more we talk about, the only way to destigmatize anything, including the mental health, including the inclusion of these children, including the inclusion of anybody who's having any of the little issues. You know, it can be related to the mental health, it can be related to another ability or whatever it be. But the main thing, the crux of this matter comes to the fact that the more we talk about, the more knowledge I have about it, I will not stigmatize. So the more conversations we have, like today we are having on mental health, maybe one day we can have of inclusion, where children can understand, okay, this is what they don't need. And the more you talk, the more knowledge is spread, the more awareness is there, the automatically stigma comes down. We don't have to specially target, okay, don't stigmatize, do destigmatization should happen. No, we don't need that. Just become aware. The more knowledge, automatically it goes. That's the proactive approach, and which works with children. And I have seen one thing, which is with my own experience in this education sector, and I'm sure all of you are much more experienced on this, but I think you will agree to this. Children are the best person and the best people to adapt and change. They change faster than us. It is, we just have to, touch that chord, and it happens. So that's how we can have more conversations on this, open forum conversations, where the children can start thinking, and we will make an effect, change.
Right, great. I think what I gathered from what you said was more conversations, more awareness about, that's what we don't know about the other. We need to know more about if somebody is different. And I think that will help us to understand that how we are same as well. It is not about being different, but we are actually talking about how similar we are in terms of our emotions. We also laugh and cry, and everything that happens is same for all of us as human beings. So Kalpana, I mean, you've seen so many schools in the country and in the world outside. Uh, what are the various ways in which we can actually establish this in the school as a system, as a process? I think we need to figure out ways in which this conversation that Smita was talking about, that Surbi was talking about, happens continuously. What are the things that we should be looking at to
See,
make this
one of
happen?
the practices we already have, Shil, in the school, we have, a compulsory this circle time that we have in the classrooms. And that in circle times, generally teachers and the children talk about their problems, whatever problems they face, they talk about that. And there is an open discussion about it. But at the same time, I've seen with the, as Dr. Ojla also, stressed on one thing. I think as a society, all of us need to be more sensitive towards other person's views, and we should be able to take somebody else's views also. It doesn't happen generally, but then when kids are there, they can express in that atmosphere. Circle time is one thing. Secondly, all teachers, I think, should be ready to lend an ear to the children. Children should have this much confidence कि मैं किसी के पास भी जाऊं, मेरे मन में जो है मैं वो कह पाऊं उससे जाके. This is something, because that connect we must have. All of us need to have that connect with children. And it is not necessary कि बच्चा तुम्हारी अपनी क्लास का हो. Not necessary at all. But children in school, all children are our children. So any child, and teachers, I think, are elders. They know from the face of a child, you know whether a child is happy or the child has some problem. You come to know about it. You can very nicely, you can just take the child aside. You can ask, you have any problem? कुछ problem है क्या? या हम बिल्कुल ठीक ठाक हैं? My way of asking is this: Are we okay? Is there something which we need to share? बस 2 लाइनें, उससे ज्यादा कोई और चीज नहीं है. बट इन 2 लाइनों में भी मैंने देखा है कई दफा बड़े बच्चे जो हैं वो they come, they open up and then they tell me, yes, we have this problem. So I am depressed or something. With depression, we need to, first of all, we need to make the children understand that life is not a cakewalk at all. Whatever we do, there are pitfalls, there are failures. It's not always that we will win. Every situation is not win-win. We also fail. And this, as parents also, we need to teach, because हम बच्चों से क्या expect करते हैं? First आओगे तो ये मिलेगा, second आओगे तो ये देंगे, वो अगर नहीं आया नंबर तो तुम इसमें नहीं जाओगे, तुम ये नहीं करोगे. So I mean, we are bargaining with children. We are not empathizing with our children. We don't know our child's basic capacity to handle his or her emotions. We, at times, I have seen that today, because I don't, I mean, teachers को भी नहीं मैं इसमें blame करती, नहीं मैं इसमें parents को blame करती हूँ. But I think our entire lifestyle has become such that we are so self-centered, ना अपने अपने में इतने self-centered हैं कि हम घरों में भी नहीं देखते ना कि क्या कहाँ जरूरत है. वही हाल अपने स्कूल में भी है.
Yeah, you have talked about the parent, and sometimes it is said that the
but teachers as a school, I think we need to bring in such practices. Circle time we have practically every day, but I think once a week we should have a circle time wherein we need to talk about, specifically we need to talk about our problems. We can have the think sheets where the children can write down whatever problem they have. They can just write and give it to the teacher or give it in the, we do have suggestion box in so many various places. They can put their suggestions or they can write their problems and put those papers in those suggestion box, and teachers and the faculty should sit down and see from class to class. We can do that. And especially today, the adolescents are really going through a lot of problems. एक तो पढ़ाई का pressure है बहुत ज़्यादा.
Yeah. So we'll come to adolescence. I think I'd like to take the parent matter that you mentioned, parents and teachers both, to Dr. Audla. So it's sometimes said that the adults pass on their stress to the children.
We do.
And a related question to that, which has come from Ankita Khemka, that how badly can anger issues affect a child, and what's the best way to deal with it? So if it is so, then how does the parent and the child work together to reduce stress? And what are the conversations like? I'm like, you must have met so many patients like that, maybe, who are dealing with this stress together.
Yeah, I completely agree. And actually, it's a very important bullet point that what happens is many a times, as a parent, as elders, we bring home lots of stress from our work. And the thing is, the kids, they for them, you are their life. So what happens is, when they are talking to you, they actually they feel that stress, and then they get stressed. It's very, very important that you should, it's not always possible, but try to minimize this thing. What I would suggest is that every parent should, for at least half an hour, should sit with their kids, and in that hour they should not teach them or tell them what to do. They should just have a normal conversation and just ask that, okay, what's happening in their life, how is everything going on? And eventually what is going to happen is that the student will, the child will open up. The child will tell them what the problem is. The second thing is, which I have really, struggled with, is about grades. I am a neurologist. I see lots of children who come with developmental problem. They have autism. They can't speak. They can't do anything. And the only thing, the parents come and when I explain to them, okay, this is their problem, the first thing they ask is, "Ye kitna pad payega?" And my first question is ki, your question should not be kitna pad payega. Your question should be, how can we make them independent? How can we help them? Nobody asked this. So ये जो चीज है कि ये कितना कर पाएगा, and when we are comparing our kid with other kids, these does increase their stress, and eventually what is going to happen is they are going to stop coming to you with their problem. And that is the time where, when the kid have a problem, they would do something which you wouldn't, which in a normal course they would never ever do it. So it's very, very important that, you also need to know that, in a class, there are 10 kids who are brilliant, 10 kids who are in middle, and 10 kids who are not doing very well. Don't expect your kid to jump from one thing to other straight away. Maybe in few years time, your kid may do that. Okay. But even if it's not doing, it's nothing. So it's very, very important that you speak to them. Talking is half battle won.
Yes. Great, thank you. I think it's probably society pushes a parent to not accept the reality of what the child is, and sometimes we are pressurized by our relatives or our friends to make our children do what the society will want them to do. And I think it is at that point of time when the child between all the adults feels probably demotivated, and that's a very simple word to say, but more important than that, the child is seeking an outlet to talk. So between Smita, Kalpana and Surbi and all the four panelists, what is it that the child should do when they are under such situations where they do not have anybody to go to? They can't go to the parent because they already have some perceptions about the parent. They may not be able to go to a teacher, perhaps, because the teachers are constantly asking for, assignment किया कि नहीं किया. तो कहाँ जाए, या जाए तो फिर कैसे जाए? I mean, एक तरीका होता है जहाँ पे वो बातचीत शुरू कैसे करें. I think first is to identify a person. Maybe that person is there, but they can't understand how to begin that conversation. I think that is something probably, if any one of you can respond to, will probably help many of our students who are here, and they can pass the word around to their friends and peers. Maybe Smita can begin with, and then Kalpana, then Surbij and Dr. Ojka. Yeah, Smita.
Okay, as I answer your question, I will just take a minute to agree with Dr. Ashish that as a parent, you need to be listening to your kid. Talking, more than talking, just listen. When you start listening, and that goes either ways for the children here, because I see children as well. So you can also listen sometimes, and they can also listen. It will, instead of reacting every time what you want to say, maybe listening for 2 minutes and then saying would really help you with your relation with your parents, and vice versa for both of you. And the second point which I want to just add to that is that the parents do compare, they compare because of the society and whatever. It's not because of the society. It is the belief system that they have with them. And that takes a lot of time to go. Having said that, I'll come to the question which you have asked, that where should the children go? For all the children who are attending and for those who can pass on the message, please speak up, reach out, talk to anybody who you click with. It's not necessary somebody, a professional like me. We are always there for you, but you can also talk to somebody who you love. Today I was having another webinar and we talked about this, that talk to a person who you feel is giving you positive vibes, preferably somebody who is little elder to you, so that they can guide you perfectly. Also, while seeking out help, see who you are asking for help. Sometimes when we think that they are helping us, may not be actual help. So therefore, give some time to yourself and you'll be able to understand. That's one. Secondly, if you still do not, you have a lot of hesitation even to talking to your friends. Like I have seen when children come, they don't want to say that in front of their own friends, the best friend, because there may be something at home which they want to just discuss. And it's not something, very derogatory, but they want to discuss. So then you can seek out to us. We are always there to listen. But as I have said, the first step is seek to anybody who you click with or who you love talking to, and they will certainly guide you. Otherwise, go to a professional. And when going to a professional, I would add this because I have been seeing this trend here. Please go to somebody who's experienced. Please do that, because there is a lot of budding talent. I do not say that you must not go to them, but please take a proper help. And for you to understand who would be more experienced, just go through their profile, see the work done by them, and then go to them, because then they will be able to guide you in a professional, unjudgmental manner.
Thanks, Smita. Kalpana and Surbi and
More or less, in family or in school or amongst your peer group, whomsoever you like, because it has been, in my experience, so many times things have brought to me by the best friends, by some teacher who just visits that class once or twice in a week, but is, very sensitive, is intuitive, and comes and talks and goes and talks to Smita. So many times it has happened that some teachers have brought in that child has not spoken to us, but we think that, the reactions are this, the responses are like this. So do you think this is normal? Sometimes children themselves approach. Even I was very happy 2 years ago, 6th, 7th standard children approached Smita, madam, we have a problem, we have an issue. And she asked them what was their issue. They said, nahi, ek karke batayenge, ek saath nahi bata sakte, because the personal issues. And then they discussed and they found their way out. So the thing is that they need to speak up, but for them to have that confidence of speaking up, we as elders need to also build in that confidence in them, that all right, whatever you can speak to us and whatever you will speak will stay with us.
yeah,
It will not go out, it will not circulate.
yes,
And we will direct you to the right kind of person.
right.
These 3-4 things. And I think हर बच्चे की जिंदगी में कोई तो ऐसा एक होता है जो उसका बहुत अपना होता है,
जी,
तो वो अपने के पास बोलेगा तो वो जरूर कुछ ना कुछ वहां से रास्ता निकल आता है, चाहे कितना ही छोटा बच्चा हो. 2nd, 3rd के बच्चे भी अगर उनका फ्रेंड कोई नाराज है, किसी को कोई प्रॉब्लम है, तो वो आके शेयर करते हैं. कई दफा
जी,
टीचर्स के साथ शेयर करते हैं कि मैम इसको ना ये प्रॉब्लम है, इसके ना ऐसा है, and then teachers find a way out,
Yeah, I think the point that
but we need to have our ears open and eyes open too,
yes,
and
so,
that sensitivity in our hearts. That's
right. I think the point being made is that it need not be a teacher or a parent. It can be someone the child is comfortable,
yes.
and the parents can't say कि मुझसे क्यों नहीं बोला.
हाँ,
Right?
नहीं, वो नहीं, वो कोई भी बड़ा नहीं कह सकता उसको.
सुरभि जी,
फिर वो तो आपको पता होना चाहिए कि आपसे क्यों नहीं बोला.
exactly. सुरभि जी,
सर इस चीज के लिए आई कैन हैव कि बच्चे जो होते हैं दे ऑलवेज से फॉर द रोल मॉडल्स अपने पेरेंट्स को ही मानते हैं.
जी,
इस टाइम पे इफ अ चाइल्ड इज नॉट गोइंग टू अ पेरेंट, स्पेशली मदर फादर के पास, तो किसी एक को, जैसे फादर्स जो होते हैं वो हमेशा मदर जो होता है हमेशा बच्चों के पास रहते हैं, फादर्स हमेशा अपने बाहर के उसमें रहते हैं, तो मदर्स पे तो भी कोई नहीं जाएगा, मतलब चाइल्ड इतनी जल्दी नहीं जाएगा, बट ये दे हैव टू क्रिएट दैट इन्वायरमेंट। जैसे आशीष सर ने पहले बोला था कि आपको टॉकिंग करना जरूरी है, यू हैव टू गिव टाइम, फैमिली क्वालिटी टाइम। तो जिससे व्हेन यू हैव टू टॉक रेगुलरली, तो एक कोई आपका पेरेंट होता ही है, या तो मदर या तो फादर, दे मेक द किड्स, हमेशा उनको आप फैमिली टाइम में देखते हैं, आपका हाउस होल्ड में सिबलिंग्स होते हैं, दे कैन शेयर विद देयर सिबलिंग्स, वी कैन प्रिटेंड द ड्रामास, वी कैन प्रिटेंड एंड प्ले। कोई एक टॉय होता है, वी कैन हैव दैट ऑप्शंस आल्सो इधर, कि टॉक टू, मतलब इफ यू वांट टू आस्क समथिंग विद योर चाइल्ड कि आपके अंदर क्या एंजाइटी है या क्या चीज चल रहा है, तो वी हैव टू टॉक विद दैट। किसी भी बच्चे का एक स्पेशल कोई टॉय होता है, डॉल्स होती हैं, कुछ होता है, तो यू हैव टू आस्क, वी हैव टू take that questions and ask कि उस बच्चे में क्या है। we can have that options also with a game and with the drama, we can have a drama act also कि what is going through inside the kid, क्या चीज का वो चल रहा है। तो that is the better option, one of the parent can move on, जिसे आप कर सकते हो। if parent not, then I can go with the drama act, or with the he can also they can also have with the that toy, the favorite toys, जो टॉयज के साथ बच्चा बहुत टाइम स्पेंड करता है। देन मैम ने बोला कि भी डेफिनेटली अभी स्कूल्स नहीं है, ऑनलाइन क्लासेस हैं, बच्चों की एंजाइटीज बढ़ रही हैं, तो दे कैन नॉट शेयर, मूवी नहीं कर पाते, फ्रेंड से बात नहीं करते, तो वी कैन हैव दीज ऑल थिंग्स कि व्हाट आपके अंदर चल क्या रहा है। तो दीज आर 3-4 एक्शंस एंड टॉकिंग, family quality time, which Ashish sir had said before that कि we should have a talk time, we should have, जैसे आपका खाना जरूरी है, everything in your busy schedules, then you have in your family time is more important, your kids के साथ बैठना, family times you have to spend, क्योंकि आपका फ्यूचर आप इन्वेस्ट अभी करोगे तो आपको फ्यूचर वही मिलेगा। तो इफ यू विल इन्वेस्ट इन योर चाइल्ड टुडे विद अ फैमिली क्वालिटी टाइम, वही सर ने जैसे भी है कि कुछ स्कूल का बात नहीं करना, जस्ट प्ले बोर्ड गेम्स, आस्क देयर फीलिंग्स, क्या किया आज पूरे दिन, आप क्या करना चाहते हो। सिमिलरली आप जब बात करोगे फैमिली क्वालिटी टाइम में, तो बच्चे भी आपसे उतने ही खुलेंगे, पेरेंट्स से उतने ही खुलेंगे, तो हमें पे कहीं बाहर जाने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगा। फैमिली क्वालिटी टाइम आई वुड से कि इस पैंडेमिक में हमेशा जरूरी है, क्योंकि आप आज इन्वेस्ट करोगे अपने बच्चों में, तो वही बच्चे एज अ रोल मॉडल फ्यूचर में वही वो काम करेंगे।
बिल्कुल। So, Dr. Ashish, I mean, where should the students go to, and how can they communicate?
One thing I would like to say is many times actually they are afraid that if they come up with their problems, you're going to judge them. Okay, you may not, but they are afraid. So what I would like to tell them is that there are few confidential helplines which are run by NGOs, and what they can do is they can just call them and speak to them freely. And sometimes just speaking to a third person who is not going to judge them, actually it helps.
Great. I think that's a very important point. I think, Smita ma'am, maybe we should have that number highlighted somewhere in the school, so that it is the students know that they can do this confidentially, speak to someone who is a third person. And
I have one more point.
Yes, of course, ma'am.
It is a request to all the parents. हम लोगों की जिंदगी में बच्चे क्या लाते हैं? खुशी लाते हैं, खुशी लाते हैं बच्चे। तो हमारी जिंदगी में पर्पस क्या होना चाहिए कि हमारे बच्चों को हमें खुश देखना है, स्ट्रेस्ड नहीं देखना। बिकॉज ये मैं कई दफा पेरेंट्स से सुनती हूँ, आपके यहाँ क्या पढ़ाई होती है, बच्चों को स्ट्रेस तो होता ही नहीं, वो बिल्कुल स्ट्रेस नहीं फील करते। स्ट्रेस फील नहीं, मतलब बच्चे स्ट्रेस फील करें वो तभी पढ़ रहे हैं, नहीं तो पढ़ नहीं रहे, ऐसा कैसे है? और हर एक बच्चे की जिंदगी में उनके अपनी एक लाइन है जो वो आज नहीं कल जरूर अपना पहचानेंगे और करेंगे, और अपनी जो कैपेबिलिटी है उसको जरूर पहचान के उस पर चलते हैं। दैट्स अ नेचुरल थिंग। हर एक मतलब पेरेंट को एंजाइटी नर्सरी में 12वीं का एग्जाम कैसे देगा उसकी नहीं होनी चाहिए। 12th में आएगा बच्चा जब देखी जाएगी, जब उसको हमें सिर्फ सपोर्टिव एटमॉस्फेयर देना है, एक एनवायरनमेंट कंड्यूसिव बनाना है घर में भी और स्कूल में भी, कि बच्चा ठीक से पढ़ाई कर सके। आपका काम, जो हमारा काम है, हम अपनी ड्यूटी पूरी करें। बच्चा, कोई भी बच्चा, ये उनकी भी तो प्रेस्टीज का सवाल होता है। पढ़ाई मतलब फर्स्ट नहीं आए, सेकंड नहीं आए, ये नहीं हुआ, वो नहीं हुआ, उनकी भी तो प्रेस्टीज है। जितना उनकी वो होता है करते ही। बहुत कम बच्चे ऐसे मैंने देखे हैं जो जिनको थोड़ी पड़ी नहीं होती अपनी, पर वो भी बच्चे अपनी जिंदगी में सफल तो होते हैं।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
असफल बच्चे तो मैंने, मेरे इतने 72 से आज तक मैंने असफल बच्चे नहीं देखे हैं। वो हर एक बच्चा अपनी जिंदगी में कुछ न कुछ जरूर करता है, क्योंकि उसको अपने आप के लिए खड़ा होना है। तो हम थोड़ा सा कॉन्फिडेंस उन पे भी तो रखें ना, जो बहुत जरूरी है पेरेंट्स के लिए, वो
ये बहुत
कॉन्फिडेंस।
महत्वपूर्ण बात है कि कोई बच्चा असफल नहीं होता है।
नहीं होता है।
तो इस बात को
ये
मानने की बहुत जरूरत है हमें पेरेंट्स।
सफलता के पैरामीटर्स तो हमने बनाए हैं ना।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
और सफलता का पैरामीटर क्या है? एक एक बच्चा अपनी जिंदगी में एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी हो उसके पास, और वो खुश रहे।
जी जी।
और अगर ना खुश होगा तो वो खुश होने के लिए एफर्ट करेगा ही करेगा, क्यों नहीं करेगा?
बिल्कुल।
उसकी
इट्स अ
जिंदगी
नेचुरल
है ना, वो
प्रोसेस।
तो करेगा ही करेगा।
एब्सोल्युटली।
बस, तो
आई
इतना
थिंक
कॉन्फिडेंस हमें भी अपने बच्चों के ऊपर होना ही चाहिए, मैं ये मानती हूँ।
बिल्कुल। आई मीन दैट्स
आपके सपने कुछ भी हो बच्चों के लिए, और कोई भी जिंदगी में आइडियल पेरेंट नहीं होता, कोई भी आइडियल बच्चा नहीं होता,
बिल्कुल।
तो हम दिमागों में लेके अपने चलते हैं।
कोई आइडियल पेरेंट नहीं होता, कोई
नहीं
आइडियल
होता,
नहीं होता।
नहीं होता।
हम
मैं
सब
भी नहीं हूँ
सफलता।
आइडियल पेरेंट, आइडियल पेरेंट हो नहीं सकते। वी आर ऑल ह्यूमन बीइंग्स, यू नो, एंड वी गो थ्रू डिफरेंट स्टेजेस, ओके, बट we should have a proper this much understanding कि ये बच्चे हमारे हैं। इनकी अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम है तो उनको इतना कॉन्फिडेंस होना चाहिए कि वो हमसे शेयर कर सकें, हम उनसे बात कर सकें। बात करना, ये जो डायलॉग है जो डॉक्टर औजला ने बोला, सुरभि ने भी बोला और स्मिता ने भी बोला, कि बात करना जो है उससे बड़ी तो कोई चीज ही नहीं है। उनको इतना कॉन्फिडेंस हो कि कोई भी प्रॉब्लम में हम टीचर के पास जाएंगे या माँ बाप के पास जाएंगे, किसी के पास भी जाएंगे, हमारी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व होगी। और अगर पूरा सॉल्व नहीं हो पाएगा तो रास्ता तो बताएंगे कि कैसे हो सकता है। बस।
और आजकल डेफिनेटली it's a we are all influenced by social media, and maybe we receive a small message saying, sir, I want to talk to you, or can we speak? And that
Yes, why
itself is
not?
good enough for us to take it from there, and not to push, but let the other person speak.
I'll
I
give
think
you two examples. अभी यू सेड ना स्कूल्स, तो मेरे तो अभी बच्चों के हिसाब से भी आई एम अ ग्रैंड मदर, मतलब मेरे स्टूडेंट्स के भी बच्चे यूनिवर्सिटीज में पढ़ रहे हैं। पर अगर कोई भी बच्चा मैसेंजर पे एक लाइन आ जाती है, कैन वी स्पीक, डू यू हैव टाइम, ठीक है, आज 9 साल से 10 साल से बात नहीं की है, 15 साल से बात नहीं की है, वो एक लाइन आती है, आई रिस्पॉन्ड। बात क्या होती है? या तो किसी की शादी हो रही है, या किसी ने कोई बहुत अच्छा कुछ किया, या किसी को बच्चे को कोई प्रॉब्लम है। तो तीनों चीजें, अपनी अच्छी चीज भी वो शेयर करना चाहते हैं, लेकिन अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम है वो भी शेयर करते हैं, और बड़े अच्छे से शेयर करते हैं कि मैम ऐसा हो गया, अब क्या करें। तो उनकी फीलिंग तो एक वेंट आउट तो हो गई ना। अब मैं उनको, पता नहीं मैं उनका कुछ ठीक कर पाऊं नहीं कर पाऊं, वो अलग चीज है। लेकिन अगर बच्चा ये कह देता है आपको इतने बरसों के बाद भी, उसको ये लगता है कि मैं एक लाइन लिखूं ये, तो बात तो हो सकेगी, मैं अपनी बात तो कह पाऊंगा। बस वो, उससे ज्यादा किसी भी ह्यूमन बीइंग को, हमें भी होता है ना, कोई प्रॉब्लम होती, वी आल्सो सीक आउट समबडी, यार किसी से एक दफा बात तो कर लें कम से कम, तो हमारे अंदर से तो निकले ये चीज। बस वही है, तो ह्यूमन नेचर है ना, उसको क्या करेंगे।
absolutely. Thank you, Kalpana. Let's take some questions that have come our way. This is a question by Ankita Goel. She's asking that when I'm having one-to-one conversation with my kids, at times I feel that they are not able to understand what exactly they are facing a problem with, and what to do in such a situation. So it is possible that when the parents are having a conversation with the children and they sense that there is a problem but they can't understand, is there a way that we could probably address this, Dr. Ojla?
I think the situation is that we are not able to understand their problem. Okay, they may not be able to articulate it, that okay, what exactly is the problem. But the thing is, many times what happens is, if you if you just start a conversation, free conversation, just open conversation, then many a times in bits and pieces they would come up with a problem. And actually sometimes you may not they may not be able to tell you that what exactly it is, or you may not be able to understand. But actually, just by talking to them, I think you are solving their problem. Because most of the problems they can solve by themselves. They just, many a time, they just need somebody to just listen to them. And empathize with them, that okay, you are doing fine, yeah, just carry on. And I think that's a big way forward.
Right. So I think there's something which there's another.
Can I just add to this?
Yeah, Smita, please.
Yeah. So when you feel that your child is not clicking with you, is not is not listening to you, basically it may be that it's time to turn the table and you listen.
Yeah.
You start listening. They tell, children tell, and there is a rule with listening. The rule is stop judging. The main important problem which happens with parents is they don't listen. Firstly, if they do listen, they judge. And the third one, which adds to it, it's to the power of 3. The third one is give the moral. So stop, and your child will open up. Just listen.
Great. Thank you. Thank you,
In
Smita.
the words of children, chill.
Yes, chill. Yeah.
Parents need to chill.
Yeah.
Great. But then I think there's a point that has come up here, that sometimes the reason for depression is the family itself. I think it's a very sensitive matter. So how can we solve or deal with such a situation? Because if we tell it to someone, that would actually become an insult maybe. And could you please have a conversation on this topic? Dr. Ajla, Smita, I mean anyone.
Hear your question. Can you repeat your question?
Yeah,
I can't hear
the
you.
question that has come to me is that sometimes the reason for depression is the family itself. If it is being discussed with somebody outside the family, it might be embarrassing or an insulting moment for the child, or for the student or the adolescent. What could be a specific step to resolve or to deal with an issue like this?
Okay. As a counselor, I would like to say this because I am from this fraternity, and this question is come from here. So the first important thing is it's okay. You are strong enough to share. You are not weak when you share. If you share, you are strong. And that strength is imbibed in you ever since you were born. So believe in your strength, speak up. Number 1 point. Second, as I said before, look for somebody who you click with. If still not able to find, we are there to help. Let me make let me say this on this open forum. At least for me, I can vouch for none of the child who have come to me, their name has come out, and I get the support from the school fraternity for this. None of the child who has come to me for counseling, their issue or their name has come out, unless and until the child himself or the parent himself goes and talks about it. That much confidence. And we have, I would rarely say that we have, but this is a different conversation, but I have to say this: we have been able to solve big issues without everyone knowing it, and we don't publicize it. I do not in my data add, oh, I have done this. No, that's not something which I believe in, and I get the support. So I come back to the second point: look for somebody who you click with. Otherwise, we are there. Third, if you still feel that you don't want to talk, there are drop boxes you can, or mail it without hesitation. And if you don't feel like giving your name, at least write a mail. So we'll be trying to help you out with that. Okay, and reach out to whoever you feel, but don't keep it to yourself. There are some issues, and I would also say this: everybody has issues at home, but you have to find a way out. So speak. You're strong. You're born strong.
Right. Thank you, Smita. I think we need to continuously keep supporting students in our schools, in our classrooms, in our conversations, and give them that space to speak, to communicate, to share, and not be judgmental. I think that's something which pushes them away, that drives them away, rather than bringing them closer to us. And not only that, I think the point that you emphasized on is the point of confidentiality, is trust, is faith, that if I go and talk to this person, this will not be divulged anywhere else, and it will remain safe with that person. So feeling of being safe is a very important aspect. And I think the last maybe 7-8 minutes we spend time on in today's situation, how are the adolescents dealing with it? I think a lot of times we have younger children who may be talking to their parents or maybe more expressive, but adolescents are the ones who probably are least expressive about what they are going through, and particularly during these times when they're not finding any outlet to kind of let go of their stress or any kind of
दौड़ना पड़ा था, वो डॉक्टर्स के पास गई, बट कोई इस चीज को नहीं समझ रहा था कि स्पेशल नीड्स के लोगों को भी डिप्रेशन होता है. हम इस बात को इसमें टाल देते हैं कि ये तो ऐसे ही है,
sorry.
ये ऐसे ही करते हैं.
Surbhiji, maybe you can share it with the platform, with the forum. But anyway, so can we just discuss this a little bit, and then maybe we can probably take some questions more if there are any. Dr. Ajla, do you have anything to say?
There's been a recent study regarding coronavirus related stress, and in that study, the 52% of the population they have problems with like sleep, the eating habits, headache, temper. And it's a huge amount, 52%. And actually, when they tried to look at the age group, I was really surprised when I was reading it. The age group which was maximally affected was between 14 to 25 years of age, and the people who were least affected are elderlies. So actually what we do is we always think that, okay, but children, they can take stress in a much better way, they tolerate it much easy, but actually it doesn't work like that. Adolescents, they already have lots of stresses because they have to look at, they are in senior classes, there are lots of stress about their studies, about the future, and then the other stresses come through. So so I really think that we really need to focus on adolescents, and we need to teach them how to de-stress themselves. There are lots of things which I've spoken earlier, so I think actually it should be in the school curriculum, that how to deal with the stress, how we can de-stress ourselves, and we should have special classes, say yoga, meditation, whatever helps, little help you can get from anywhere. I think it's very important that you take that help.
Great, thank you. Surbhiji, any you would like to contribute to this? How do we deal with adolescent and maybe children with special needs who are in adolescent age? How do we help them? How do we address their issues?
So for the depression, I will say the same thing. We should have this music sessions, what they like, the things they like, we should do like that only. Music हमेशा काम करता है. Then yoga, breathing exercises, they should have in a routine, not for a day, not for a month, they should have in a habit. Then again, music is a very plus point for relaxing themselves for these things. And then board games, again board games, we can play board games, skipping, bahar ka jo outdoor games, indoor games, these all are the relaxing relaxing things which we can do with our special need kids, and we can use this for the typical kids also, not for the special needs. We can use in everything which is used for the typical kids. We can use these same things for the special need kids. They are nothing to be separated anything. That is what I believe ki inclusion वही होता है कि what you think about this tag has to be removed. So this tag has to be removed. Special need kid ka special wala, I know that the kids are in special needs, but this special word has to be removed for this. The things are the same for every kid. The typical kids also need कि अगर they are facing with the depression, and what has to be done. Ashish sir and Smita ma'am has said talk together. Talking is necessary. So in the same thing, special needs maybe we have to talk. We have to talk. Again, with the I don't want this discrimination we doesn't want is making everything which is need for the typical kid, that is to be needed with the special need kid also. That is the
Great. I think we are about to conclude this, but before that, let me just summarize what we have talked about. And it's a very
One thing.
Yes.
Can
Sorry.
I-
For any adolescents should cultivate hobbies. If
Yeah.
they have a constructive hobby, may it be reading, may it be writing, may it be art, may it be music,
craft.
whatever, gardening, कुछ भी ऐसी चीज, एक hobby, if a person has a hobby, then it is kind of your stress buster always. Cooking भी है, cooking में भी बहुत से लोगों के लिए stress
जब हम
buster.
स्पेशल
In fact, while you mentioned this, I was reading a book today, Teach Like Finland. And what Finland does is that they try to engage students outside school in different kinds of hobbies. In fact, 90% of their children spend only 4 hours in school, and rest of the time they spend doing and developing some hobbies. I think that is something which is so important, and we know where Finland is in terms of the education systems. Great. I think
I really need to add this because,
Yeah.
this is the forum I get to talk to. I am so sorry if I'm making this
No,
late,
okay.
but I get children here. So this question I think has been raised, or you have raised it. But for the children who are going through, especially adolescents, they're really going through a tough time. The data says that 89% of them are saying Corona or no Corona, open the schools. We want to be with the friends. This is the data, and 64% of children are saying that our relation with the family members have deteriorated. So that's sad. That's really sad with adolescents. But having said that, for the children who are attending, also for the parents, there are 3-4 things you can still do when you are at home now. One is have a routine. Whatever routine suits you, please do it. And that's why I said I must say this, because the next time I meet, maybe you will already be in the school. So I don't know. So first is have a good routine for yourself, whatever suits you. That's up to you to make. You're grown up enough to do that. Secondly, be kind and compassionate towards yourself. It's okay the way you are. It's just fine. You're doing good. Third is connect with your friends. Connect. It's okay if the parents may get angry. Do not be on phone the whole day, but please connect. That will really ease out the things which you have bottled it up, because children at this age don't want to talk to the parents. So that's not a parenting default, it's just the growing up default. So you just talk to friends, and as ma'am said and as Sudbi said, just pick up a hobby whichever you like. Nobody bothers how you sing, just sing. Okay, and practice gratitude. It's okay, do something. You can even do a little bit for the maid who comes, or whatever, or a dog or a pet or anything. So that may really help you ease out of your the pressure which you are building up on yourself, and we'll see through this pandemic.
And always be comfortable with whosoever you are.
Yes,
It's
I
you.
agree. Yes.
Ma'am, the fact is just accept yourself. जैसे भी हो, you are good, you are fine, and you are complete. Don't judge.
Yes.
Don't judge. Don't compare with yourself also, and with your kid also. Don't compare. Take acceptance. Acceptance you will have, then everything is okay.
Great.
with you and with your child also.
Absolutely. On that note, I think certain key words that we heard today was कि कोई असफल नहीं होता है जिंदगी में, हम सब एक दूसरे को हेल्प कर सकते हैं, and with a notion of gratitude, and we are all there to talk to each other and give
acceptance also.
accept and give that space so that we can pull everybody up towards success for the entire society, for all our children, and for all our parents, for all us teachers. Everybody can be successful and happy in their lives. Thank you very much for being there today, and I hope that we will take forward this conversation in the school and in our workspaces wherever we are. It was really happy. I thank Dr. Ojla, Surbhi Agarwal, Kalpana ji, and Smita ma'am to be here to have this conversation with our children and our parents. Thank you very much.
And I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad and happy to see few students. I've seen you after ages.
Of course.
Anyways, all of you.
It always gives us so much of happiness to see our
Of
students
course.
live to us.
Because these days school is without children and doesn't seem like school, you know.
And ma'am, you know, they are joining this conversation. That speaks so much.
I know, Smita, what you
Thank you
said
for
about
doing
they
this.
want to come back to school.
Important.
It is like everybody has been saying that they want to come back to school and they're asking when is the school's opening. I
Absolutely.
hope the government listens to us.
One junior KG child has decided, एक दफा स्कूल खुलेगा तो घर वापस नहीं आऊंगी.
Thank you very much. And till we meet again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.